It's a damn demo.
It's a damn demo. Spaceship. Spaceship. Sam, the connection to the camera network N733 has been established. Okay, I'm heading out. Wait 1 second. Done. It's disabled. You can go now. After buzzing helplessly with its rotating mechanism, the camera froze. Nearby, a female silhouette emerges from a dark passageway. Without slowing down, she moves quickly and confidently deeper into the residential block. Dave, what about the other cameras? Disabled. The concierge, once you go up, you can enter right away. Hurry, this won't take long. After climbing a few levels higher, she easily found a familiar door of the old hotel, above which glowed a dim neon light with the word 5N0. Or 5 no? Passing through a small and gloomy lobby with flickering lamps and stuttering android concierge stuck in stasis, Sam headed straight for her client's room. Mr. Sato greeted her while seated in a motorized wheelchair in front of a huge aquarium. He was a frail old man. By the time the technology breakthrough in life extension had occurred, his body was already too worn out. Not even several rejuvenation procedures were able to restore his youth. His gaze was fixed on a small school of tiny mechanical fish that, amid a swarm of bubbles, struggled to move up and down as if performing a strange convulsive dance. Good morning, Mr. Sato. There you are, Sammy. How are you doing? Without waiting for an answer, she walked over to the computer console, swiftly running her fingers across the keyboard. She brought the powerful machine out of standby mode. I'm doing fine, but the fish seem to be acting up again. Alfred must be messed up with the aquarium again. If you underfeed them even a little, the whole school falls into a stupor. Sam shifted her gaze to the aquarium. From its rocky bottom, streams of tiny bluish ball lightning bursts kept erupting. The swirling school of fry eagerly snapped them up with open mouths, constantly bumping into each other, freezing for a moment, then springing back into motion. Oh well, never mind. I'm glad to see you again. I can't wait to finally get a good night's rest again. Hehehe. Sam inserted Limbo device, a storage and transmission unit for neural dreams, into the computer port. After a brief loading process, the computer synchronized with the old man's neural implants, signaling that Limbo was ready for activation. Are you ready? Yes, Miss Taylor, I'm ready. With a pleasant dull click, the old man's brain implant connected via remote ultra-high-speed quantum link to Limbo and began receiving the first preparatory stream of code. Unlike her day job in the legal department, where she developed controlled neural dreams, Sam expanded the range of services she offered in her black market business. For a generous fee, she was willing to perform advanced programming, creating neural dreams while bypassing a number of mandatory norms and regulations, making each dream hyper-realistic. Derived of a synaptic cushion that ensured a smoother and gentler sleep, these dreams provided far more vivid, extreme experiences than the widespread legal ones. My youth, I attended many concerts by Marjolaine Ray. I can't wait to introduce her to my friends. Just think, right now, they're out there somewhere roaming the vastness of space, and in just a few minutes we'll meet up again at the concert. Jazz, experience, drinks, fragrant songs, cigars, pleasures you simply can't find in this new world. Sato rolled his eye dreamily while Sam continued tapping on the keyboard, listening along to the old man's nostalgic tale. Just think, how long have I been using your services, and it still amazes me that I can connect with people millions of kilometers away in my dreams. Yeah, it's like we're living in a science fiction fantasy, right? Close your eyes and clear your mind. Closing his eyes, the old man leaned back in his chair. Now try to visualize a couple of images. We'll synchronize them with the code in Limbo and generate a room, the place where you'll find yourself. After that, your companions will automatically receive guest access keys. Try to imagine the images and sounds as vividly as possible, okay? Yes, Sam. Not my first time. Let's do this. Alright, picture the location of the event. Got it. We agreed to meet up at an old pub on Hall Street. It was a nice place. Now imagine what you look like. Good, like how I used to in my youth, with a wonderful light-colored three-piece suit and polished shoes. Excellent, Mr. Sato. And now the subject, the musicians, the singer, and what she's singing. Oh, that will take a bit longer. Right. Margaret, Steve, and Nancy. No need to list them out loud. Just imagine them and tell me when you're done. Alright, yes, I think that's everything. The old man broke into a satisfied smile, softly humming a melody unfamiliar to Sam. Generation will take a couple of seconds. After that, synchronization with your friends will follow, and then they'll be able to connect. Sam resumed typing, checking the impulses transmitted from Limbo to the client's neural implant via the wireless channel. Alright then, Mr. Sato, pleasant dreams. The old man sighed with pleasure, just before his consciousness slipped into sleep, and his brain flooded with generated neural signal. Dave, how are we on time? Time to wrap it up. We wouldn't want to go beyond the limits of the temporal anomalies. Okay, I'm almost done. Let's meet at our usual spot. After quickly packing up and checking her client's sleep and vital signs, she headed for the exit. A signal stream that burst out of Limbo and exabytes of data surged through the neural implant directly at Mr. Sato's brain. Familiar sensations. The old man's breathing froze, passing through the neural spatial filter. He seemed to be dissolving. The sensation of his weak and frail body was slowly left behind, unable to keep up with the rapid motions of his consciousness. A moment later, he felt himself gaining mass, and his weightless spirit growing heavier and becoming something new. Taking a deep breath, he exhaled with relief as he felt none of the familiar pain from his synthetic liver. His head felt light, and his legs, clad in light cotton trousers, stirred. He opened his eyes. He was a young man again. Familiar music played around him. The air was filled with the wavering, thread-like haze of Haitian cigars, scented with alcohol and sweet perfume. Spinning around in his leather chair, Sato looked around to make sure he was indeed in that very room with the singer and her unique trio. Just as he expected, his friends were running late. This was precisely the moment when, anticipating the evening ahead, he would enjoy a freshly rolled Cohiba cigar and a glass of Johnny Walker. Leaning back in his chair with a sense of great pleasure, Sato took a deep drag and immersed himself in the magic of the jazz melody carried by the singer's voice as her rounded hips swayed in her shimmering dress. Suddenly, something caught his attention. The floor beneath his feet began to dissolve, turning into a viscous black sludge. He tried to stand up, but his legs turned to cotton and refused to obey. From the depths of the foul liquid, he saw something resembling hands reaching for his legs. The old man no longer smelled the aroma of perfumes and cigars. His lungs began filling with a thick, vile, and long-forgotten stench of decay. Sam, get me out of here. His voice echoed but immediately died out as it struck the walls of the neural room. Monstrous pain and fear seized the old man's body. Unable to move, he pressed himself into his chair, choking and scraping the armrest with his fingernails. At last, the black symphony of horror pain reached its inevitable climax, abruptly cut short by the silence of the old man and the singer's piercing scream. Man, that hurt my ears. Yeah, dude blew up. That's crazy. I like the art. It's kind of weird, but it's cool at the same time. The megapolis, heavy and gloomy, like an extinguished fire, kept flickering with the smoldering embers of neon signs and advertising holograms. A city forever asleep, immersed in dreams programmed by corporations delivered via neural dreams. Some didn't leave their homes for weeks, permanently immersed in a dreamlike existence where the world is exactly what they wanted it to be. Long deserted, time-worn streets twisted between mega skyscrapers that rose from the depths of the city all the way into the clouds and beyond, supporting air purification capsule plantations that enveloped the city like a husk. Taking on black market jobs became easier with time. Nonetheless, the adrenaline made itself known. There was always the risk of getting caught, but she always finished the job, and there were never any sirens in sight. Until tonight. Leaving the tension behind, Sam calmly climbed toward the upper levels of the district. Somewhere up there, among antennas and distribution panels, Dave was waiting for her as usual. A brief meeting after their joint side jobs had long become an unspoken tradition. He greeted her with a faint smile. Congratulations on another successful job, Sammy. We both did great. You handled the cameras and the android perfectly. Dave nodded with satisfaction and handed her a small inhaler. Thanks, Dave, but not today. Her companion shrugged, brought the inhaler to his lips, took a deep breath of a blend of light synthetic opioid peptides, and exhaled bluish vapor. Did you get the payment? Of course. Sato always credits the funds even before I enter his room. I'll transfer your share now. My favorite part of the job. Sam activated the transaction using a mental command. At the same time, the implant in her temple glowed with a dull green light, signaling that the transfer had been completed successfully. Checking his balance, Dave could barely hide his satisfaction. Going to splurge on another power of electronics again? Tempting, but not this time. Lately, I've been saving up, Sam. In a couple of years, a new ark will leave Earth, and I plan to be on board. Wow, you never said you wanted to leave Earth. Do you really think it will be better on another planet? Definitely better than here. Earth is finished. There are barely any people left, and despite the improving ecosphere, I think our planet is doomed. Did you hear about the new mega tower collapsing last night? The news mentioned that there were victims. Dave cut himself off mid-sentence, noticing Sam furrow her brows. Sorry, Sam, I didn't mean to remind you about it. That's okay. That's all part of the past. That's all in the past. She turned away, rubbing the polyurethane plate of the neural implant behind her implant hidden beneath her temple. Dave took another drag from his inhaler and exhaled. Well, I hope you managed to save enough to buy a ticket on the Ark. It's just a shame I'll have to work alone. And what about you? What are you saving up for? Alright, let's head home. A storm is coming, and we're apparently made of electronics, so we might catch on fire. No, I'm just kidding. Glancing up at the heavy black clouds slowly creeping in from the outskirts of the city, Dave nodded back at her. Making a farewell gesture with his hand, he trudged toward the far edge of the roof where his hoverbike stood behind the massive housing of the air conditioning systems. Meanwhile, Sam headed for a long staircase leading down, which quickly took her through the narrow alleys to her small but cozy apartment. And then the police came. Doop, 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 doop. That doesn't look like a small cozy apartment. That voice from the house. I'm waiting for you, Sam. The intense buzzing vibration of her smart ring yanked Sam out of the sticky grip of nightmarish dream, forcing her to sit up. That dream again. Putting on the ring and casting a sleepy glance at the hologram, Sam immediately recognized the long string of repeating digits and accepted the call. Good afternoon, dear customer. You are being contacted by National Augments. Please be advised that your payment for contract B414812 is overdue. Please pay the overdue amount as soon as possible to avoid penalty credits. Are you ready to make a payment today? Yes, I'm paying. Your response has been recorded. Thank you, goodbye. Sam hung up before the computer voice finished. Now fully awake, Sam got out of bed and closed her eyes again, waiting for the neural implant to synchronize with her nervous system. This was but one of her many implants which not only helped her with work and focus, but also actively affected her nervous system, dulling the constant pain from injuries she sustained in childhood. Now stuffed with implants and a couple of artificial organs, she still had to pay for them. After the synchronization bar finally reached 100, Sam got up from bed. After taking a few steps, found herself in the kitchen. The window blinds were still closed, but the light from the street advertising hologram seeped through the gaps, flooding the room with a cold neon. The credit she received yesterday came in handy. Overdue payments had been weighing on her mind all week, and the corporate collectors had sure put her smart ring number on speed dial. After her coffee was finally ready and a thick layer of chocolate spread covered her over toasted bread, she sat down on her favorite little chair. Made from the solid chunks of wood, Sam got it at a flea market for next to nothing. It might have been someone else's trash, but it reminded her of her childhood home with its early 2000s styled interior. Ellie, turn on the news. Responding to the command, the voice assistant immediately activated the holographic screen, which lit up in the dark room and a dim glow appearing in the right midair. The morning broadcast was just beginning, and a deliberately cheerful voice spoke through an unnatural snow-white smile about the latest news from the previous night.
4 people were injured and 5 killed in yesterday's accident.
Thank goodness they're reading it.
Where a number of air purification capsules collapsed.
So much reading.
According to our sources, 2 emergency capsules broke loose from the upper level of the city and fell onto the coyote slums, followed by an acid leak. As is well known, the spores contained in the capsules originate in sporangia reservoirs, whose acidity level is among the highest. The police have declined to disclose the cause of the accident. However, in light of 2 similar events, some experts have concluded that the supporting structures may have suffered from wear and tear.
Sam watched the TV news anchor without looking away. No surprise, who would invest in half-empty districts? Even though she knew the person in front of her was only a hologram, the ghost of a long-dead anchor whose image had been used by the television agency for over 200 years. She still couldn't get over that perpetual friendly smile. She talks about disasters and a bright future with the same cardboard smile. Someone should patch her coat or something. If it were up to me, I'd definitely patch her mug. Taking a crunchy bite out of a large piece of toast, Sam continued listening to the anchor voice.
And in other news, the new year promises new horizons and change.
Does it?
This morning, our studio received a signal from the spacecraft ARC 375, on which former residents of our planet, now settlers, are moving throughout the depths of space towards a new home. The ship's assistant captain, Colonel Philip Robinson, reports that the ship will arrive at the exoplanet Kepler-284 in just 4 months, right in time for the new year.
Sam grew thoughtful. So that's how it is. Humanity trashes its home, and now they get to fly among the stars to trash a new one. It's amazing how easy it is to just uproot yourself and go somewhere far, far away in search of a better life while not even trying to fix the one you left behind at home. Sam looked away from the hologram to a long-since faded picture hanging on her refrigerator door. A landscape with a raging mountain river rushing down in a rocky slope, where a barely visible lone person in a red kayak battles the water, had always stirred her imagination with the gripping atmosphere, its spirit of challenge, struggle, and adventure. She couldn't remember where the picture had come from, but she clearly remembered that it had once been her source of inspiration. Suddenly, her thoughts were interrupted by another incoming call. Her boss's face flickered on the holographic display of her smart ring. "Good afternoon, Mr. Hammer." "Hi, Sam. Could you come in early to the office?" Yes, of course. Has something happened?" "Come right away. This isn't something we can discuss over the phone." "Understood. I'll be there soon." Throwing on her clothes in a hurry and pulling the hoodie over her head, she left her apartment. Because if she goes outside with her brain exposed, then she's gonna die because of the water. No, I don't know. I'm sure implants are waterproof, you know? The city had already begun to wake up, and here and there on the empty streets, everyday activity could be seen. A few businesses and kiosks were starting to open. Sam walked along a roadway of rusted steel and concrete. Sam walked along a roadway of rusted steel and concrete. The withered paint on the curved iron railings and numerous surrounding pipes had long since peeled away. Her apartment was located only 15 minutes away from her workplace. Passing a couple of suspension bridges connecting office skyscrapers across countless levels, Sam's attention was drawn to the police cordon set up near one of the entrances to another residential complex. The presence of so many cops in such a calm district, where longevity and a measured lifestyle prevailed, suggested nothing good. She approached the yellow holographic tapes blocking the way. Nearby stood a corporate law enforcement officer wearing black protective glasses and armed with a compact submachine gun. Only now she noticed that the entire porch was covered in thick black burgundy sludge, and beneath the sheet, the silhouette of a human body was clearly visible. The sight of it made her heart beat quicken involuntarily, and an unpleasant crushing sensation appeared in her chest. The police officer noticed her but remained standing with a stone-cold expression. "Excuse me, officer, what happened here?" "Some poor bastard fell out of a window. Move along, there's nothing to see here." Adjusting her hoodie, she turned right onto the bypass bridge, moving further away from the scene of the incident. First my boss suddenly calls me into work, and now this. Despite her growing anxiety, she still managed to keep herself from panicking and from jumping to premature conclusions. What? I can't read. With a brisk pace, she reached a skyscraper glowing with lights, its peak hidden among heavy leaden clouds. As usual, a wall-mounted sensor automatically scanned her implant as she approached the building and summoned a high-speed elevator which arrived within seconds. The elevator swiftly carried her dozens of floors upward to the level where her office was located. Leaving the elevator, she was about to head towards her workplace when she suddenly noticed her boss standing nearby talking to a tall stranger. As if sensing her gaze, both men turned around. Her boss instinctively tried to smile, but his face quickly shifted to a serious grimace. Waving his hand, he headed towards her, drawing his companion along. "Sam, I'd like you to meet someone. This is Detective Collins." "Detective Collins, Sam Taylor, one of our best neuro programmers." "Pleasure to meet you, Miss Taylor." "Likewise, Detective. How can I help?" "Miss Taylor, I assume you heard what's happening in the city?" No. Well, then, the city is always swept by a wave of senseless and, at first glance, unmotivated suicides. Suicides? I didn't think the police investigated cases like that. Correct. A couple of such incidences wouldn't have caught our attention, but we're talking about at least 17 confirmed cases in the past 24 hours. 17? That's a lot. And that's only in 2 districts. All of these suicides were committed in different ways by different people in different locations, but as it turns out, there's one thing that connects them. One of the victims miraculously survived and was able to give testimony. As a result, we have every reason to believe that these suicides are linked to neural dreams. After these words, the detective took out a case from the pocket of his jacket containing a miniature limbo device. This device belonged to the victim. It bears your corporate logo. Could you check its serial number again against your database? Sam carefully accepted the device, scanned the code, immediately cross-checked it with the database via her implant. What do you see, Sam? Yes. This limbo belongs to us. That doesn't prove the limbo or the corporation caused the suicide. Mr. Hammer, I didn't come here with accusations. I'm here to understand what's happening and find a logical explanation, and I'll need a bit of your cooperation. Our department has already examined it. This limbo was reflashed. Such units are not uncommon on the black market. But that's not the main issue. The detective raised his hand and, activating a smart ring, brought up a holographic video display. This is an interrogation protocol of the victim, Jordan Brooks. In his neurodream, nothing foreshadowed disaster, just a regular meeting with his family who's currently aboard the Ark. Before we continue our discussion, you need to see this. Sam gave a slight nod and shifted her gaze to the display. The video showed a well-lit room resembling an interrogation chamber. 2 men sat across from each other at a small table. One was bald and dressed in work clothes, the other was a formal suit and was clearly a department employee. A woman stood slightly behind them. The man in the suit spoke confidently, almost emotionlessly. Mr. Brooks, you are hereby notified that this conversation, as well as all your vital signs, will be recorded. Camera switched to the footage from the department employee's ocular implant. Brooks looked terrible. Fear and hopelessness was evident in his sunken eyes. Swaying slightly, he sat with his hands clasped in front of him, staring fixedly at the table. The oppressive silence was broken by a woman's voice. Mr. Brooks, I understand it's difficult for you to speak right now, but I need to ask you a few questions. Brooks remained silent, nervously glancing around. He looked completely detached. Tell us, what happened after you entered your neural dream? I don't know, I just wanted to be with my wife and daughter. At first, there were these creatures. They were calling me, whispering my name. Someone was calling you from inside your neural dream? Yes. Who were they? It's hard to describe. I couldn't see them, and then Mia disappeared. They took my little girl and I followed her. I wanted to bring her back. Where did you go? There were a lot of doors there. Some of them were locked. Behind every door I could feel a presence. They were listening to my footsteps. They were grinning and waiting until I fell asleep. They're always nearby and never go away. Mr. Brooks, when was the last time you saw them? Those creatures. Now. They're here right now, right behind you. Mr. Brooks, please listen to me. There is no one here except the 3 of us. Moreover, I am certain your family is safe. We are already working to establish contact with the Ark, so you can confirm this for yourself. No one is safe. No one. Damn it, I already lost them once when I was forced to stay on Earth. That damn dream was all that connected us. I was so afraid for years that I'd lose them again, and now the neural dream took my family away from me for good. Criminal psychologist deliberately remained silent, waiting for Brooks to continue, hoping he would fill the silence. The dream, it felt like it was a real place, and the creatures that live there aren't just abstract images, they're alive and like all living things, they need to eat. Brooks was losing control. His voice trembled. At times he screamed, jerking his chair, then slumped onto the table, clutching his head. They're hungry. They're always hungry. They're waiting to devour my mind and soul. They crawl under your skin and eat your brain from the inside. I have to get rid of them. I can't take it anymore. They're getting closer. I need to get them out of my head. Mr. Brooks, please. No. Brooks suddenly clawed at his face, tearing and scratching at his eyeballs. Screaming hysterically, he tore out his own eyes with his bare hands. Brooks collapsed on a table from the sheer pain caused by a shock. He then went limp as a crimson fountain began to pool around his head. At that moment, someone could be heard screaming in the background. Help him, stop the recording, damn it. The footage abruptly stopped. Barely containing her shock at what she had just seen, Sam turned her gaze away. Our medics barely managed to resuscitate Mr. Brooks. His condition remains critical, so doctors were forced to place him in a medically induced coma. The director merely let out a puzzled snort, refraining from his comment. Miss Taylor? With great effort, as if stuck between thoughts, Sam shifted her gaze back to the detective. Have you ever encountered anything like this before? I don't even know. Some users have experienced psychological issues due to neural dreams. Happens roughly 1 in every 500,000 individuals. That's why our clients sign a liability waiver. I've seen various side effects, but nothing like this. What do you think could be the cause? I don't. Detective, it seems to me your questions are unfounded. Plenty of people lose their minds every day. And besides, you yourself said this limbo was reflashed. Who knows how that neural dream was compiled? Mr. Hammer, reflash limbos do not differ much from licensed ones. As a rule, people don't go insane from them, nor do they get stuck inside. Get stuck? We contacted the Ark. It turns out the victim's wife and daughter are still connected to this limbo. That's impossible. They should have woken up automatically when Mr. Brooks exited the neural dream. It's in extremely rare cases, so many people. In extremely rare cases, this can happen when a person does not wish to leave the neural dream. This is usually typical of neural addicts and binge users. But here, a normal family? Exactly. Something doesn't add up. According to the Brooks, he encountered certain entities there that abducted his daughter. Tell me, is it possible someone else connected to his limbo? Some kind of hack and intrusion? I believe that's impossible. A reflash limbo cannot be tracked. But as for connections, that function is hard-coded into the system's core. Without an invitation key, connecting is impossible. And who would even think of connecting to some ordinary worker? For what purpose? That's exactly what we want to find out. Miss Taylor, since you have all the necessary access codes, could you take a closer look at Mr. Brooks' limbo metrics? Sam glanced at Mr. Hammer. He nodded with a trace of displeasure. Yes, of course, Mr. Collins. 3 of them headed toward Sam's workplace, connecting the limbo to the computer's neural port. Sam's fingers began flying over the keys. A cascade of numbers and code appeared on the monitors. After reviewing the neural protocol, she began dissecting the code, trying to find software errors and altered values. She diligently searched for any anomalies by recording the data aside from the disabled tracking function after the reflash. Both the limbo and the neural dream it generated fully complied with all regulations. The storage contains a simple dream with a single room, in the form of a seaside beach and 2 guests, a woman and a child. I don't understand. The limbo is fully operational and functioning normally. Sam pointed at the blinking lines of code. Do you see this code? The victim's wife and daughter are indeed still connected to the limbo. Mr. Hammer, we need someone from the... Mr. Hammer, we need someone from your company to enter the neurodream and check it out from the inside. I wouldn't ask if so many lives weren't at stake, but of course the decision is yours. This is a voluntary operation. Sam bit her lips tensely. We need to pull them out, Mr. Hammer. Connect me. Sam, have you lost your mind entering the victim's neural dream? Do you even realize how this could end for you? I do, Mr. Hammer, but it seems this is the only way out of our current situation. I can't allow anyone to suffer because of my inaction. Miss Taylor, do you think you could handle this? Yes, assisting clients in exiting neural dreams is also a part of my professional duties. With a single motion, Sam laid down on the couch. Even if you're an administrator, who knows how the limbo will react? What if something goes wrong? Alright, even if you're an administrator, who knows how the limbo will react? What if something goes wrong? Don't worry, boss. I have enough experience. You know my level of exit control. I can exit the neural dream whenever I want. Alright, go ahead, Sam. The detective and I will be waiting for your return. Her boss entered the necessary codes and launched the emergency connection program. The limbo lit up, and a stream of data rushed into Sam's mind, mixed with a dose of someone else's synaptic phantoms. Quiet hum of the computer components in her rig grew louder, as if filling the room with dense sound vibrations. A wave of cold shivers ran through her body, and as it reached her head, it felt as if tiny bites were pricking at her skin, trying to burrow straight down into her brain. Unwillingly, the thought of a cranectomy flashed through her mind. I don't know what that is. I guess this is what it feels like for those undergoing open brain surgery. Her vision darkened, her eyelids closed on their own. When the machine finally reached the required power, she felt a powerful jolt like a sledgehammer blow knock her consciousness out of her body, sending it in a free fall down an unknown abyss. To be continued. I was like 2 seconds away from the end of this. Alright, that was interesting. That was NeuroBrood. I'm very interested about this. It seems cool. But oh my gosh, can you please add one word the person talks for you? I understand this is a visual novel, but please add voice actors. That's so much reading. Oh my goodness. As always, bear hug. Come on, let's go on an adventure. Come on, let's go on an adventure. Come on, let's go on an adventure.